Welcome, and thank you for joining us for our Week 4 North Carolina High School football season video series. This educational video series is for officials to help improve our skills, knowledge of the rules, and our mechanics to improve our abilities at our football games. Let's get into our first video play of the week. Our first play this week involves a kickoff, and where the receiving team, right there around the 31-yard line, makes a fair catch signal. And then we have the umpire coming in that area for coverage. And the umpire does not provide a stop the clock signal as we play this through. We need to be stopping the clock. And on a kickoff like this with a fair catch, we should all be mirroring and using the stop the clock signal so that we can get the clock stopped on this fair catch, even though the clock should not have started because of the kickoff with a fair catch. But we still need to give that stop the clock signal so that everybody knows that it's a dead ball situation and the clock should not be running. So just mirror that and we'll look much better. Our next play here, we're going to look at the action on the left side of the line there between number 8 and the left side of the line. And we're going to notice some action between the defensive and offensive player right there inside the circle. And so this is off the ball situation, and the official working that sideline on that wing needs to be observing this. And the question here is, did you see this? Did you see this action? Would you have seen this? Or, did you glance at the ball and not see this? Because you notice here there seems to be an awful lot of extra or awful lot of contact to the facial area right here by the defensive player on the offensive player. This is another one of those plays. It just illustrates, as we take a look at it again, how important it is that we stay in our areas, that we focus in the action that is in our areas, and that we have someone watching the off ball situation or the off ball action. Because if we all get caught looking where the ball goes here, we're going to miss this type of action. We want to see this so that if it needs to be flagged appropriately, that we can get that. So let's make sure we're focusing on our areas. So we're going to take a look at an extra point here, or this could be a field goal, and we're going to talk about the referee mechanics. And you can see in this photo, you can see the referee very focused in on where the holder is in the kicker area, and that is the referee's area of responsibility on an extra point of field goal. But remember, we only have two other officials watching the line here in North Carolina. So if the referee could help with that area or the line play a little bit by moving back into this position a little deeper and get a better angle, because remember, we have the umpire and head linesman here in North Carolina focusing on the 20 players on the line of scrimmage because we have the back judge and line judge underneath the uprights ruling on whether the kick is good or not. So we have two sets of eyes on 20 players here and then one set of eyes on two players. And we need to balance that a little bit more to provide help so that we can better cover this play and better officiate it. Just keep that in mind when you're working the referee position. The next play here, we have two angles we're going to take a look at. It's a punt play. We're going to look at it first from the end zone view. And then after we look at the end zone view, we'll take a look at the sideline view. So here we go. Our focus is going to be off the ball as the ball's way to our left, but right about the middle of the field, right about the 50, right on top of the logo, we can see a block there. And we'll see it better here from the sideline view on the same play, this punt play. We're going to see the better, as you can see the ball over towards the far sideline. And right there, number 4 comes up and makes a hit on the kicking team player. So this is key that we have to be looking off ball at times. We can't all be looking at near the ball, and we have to be able to see this play. You could rule this, obviously, a blindside block, but then again, we could also take a look at this and determine, was the ball dead at this point in time? Was the runner down, and was this unnecessary late hit personal foul? Either way, this is just something we have to keep an eye on. We have to officiate off ball. It's very important and it's very challenging as we work a 5-person crew, but we have to constantly be scanning for things like this because this is something that you can see here, number 4. He lines him up and hits him late. This is something that could lead to problems later on in the game. So we want to be looking for this type of stuff and prevent it or appropriately flag this so that we can prevent further problems from occurring. As number 4 comes up here, number 11 does not see him coming. You could say this is blindside, like I said, or dead ball after the play's over. Next play here is an extra point attempt, and we're going to let it run through. And as you can see, the holder muffs the snap, the ball lands on the ground, and then the kicker runs up and kicks the ball off the ground. So the question here is this legal? And you may say it is, you may say it's not. But as you can see there again, the holder definitely muffs the snap, doesn't field it cleanly. It rolls on the ground, and then the kicker steps up and kick it. So let's take a look at the rule. Rule 9, Section 7 says illegal kicking in batting. Article 1 states no player shall intentionally kick the ball other than as a free or scrimmage kick. We're also going to take a look at a case play related to this, and it says on a field goal attempt, holder A2 muffs the snap and is attempting to gain possession of the ball on the ground when A1 kicks it between the uprights. Ruling an illegal kick for A1. If the penalty is declined, the result of the play is a touchback, as the illegal kick cannot score a field goal. So we're going to take another look at this where we have an illegal kick by the kicker on which is either a field goal or an extra point attempt. So we do need to have a flag on this play. In this picture pad, I don't see one, but I'm not saying there wasn't a flag thrown, but we don't see one in this play. But we do need to have a flag on this play. So in this situation where the kick is unsuccessful, obviously the defense would decline that penalty and take the results of the play. But we need to throw that flag for illegal kicking. So be aware of this, because if somehow this kick was successful, that flag would be important because it would signify that we recognize we had illegal kicking. And that means that the points that would potentially be scored by a kick going through the uprights would not count because we would have a foul for illegal kicking. So it's important that we get the flag and administer this appropriately. The next play here, we're going to watch this live all the way through. First, as we have the quarterback thumbs the ball, picks the ball up, and then we have a hit by a defensive player on a offensive player in this situation that happened. So probably what happened here is we have a lot of focus on the quarterback in the fumble. And so this makes it really tough. 5-person crew. We're trying to focus on that quarterback in the fumble. But here again, as we've been talking throughout this video series, off ball officiating, dead ball officiating, off ball officiating, dead ball officiating. It's difficult, but we have to do what we can to improve and put forth an effort to improve on it so that we can catch these types of plays and get them right. Here's a try. We're going to take a look at live time and make a ruling. So we have two things going on here potentially. Was there contact? Did the defensive player make contact with the ball? We're going to slow it down some. I can't be sure. I can't tell. I don't see any official on the field giving a signal that there was contact. That doesn't mean that they didn't tip the ball. I don't know. It's hard to tell. The second part here is the contact on the kicker legal or illegal? So first of all, if there's no contact on the ball, if the defense does not tip the ball or touch the ball, then you would have to decide, is this running into the kicker or is this ripping the kicker? And there is a lot of contact there. The player leaps into the air and goes into the space of the kicker. So you would have a judgment decision to make there of whether you have running into or roughing. Like I said, it looks like to be a lot of contact here. Now, if the defense does tip the ball, does tip this kick, then you're probably going to hear, you can't have a foul because the defense made contact with the ball. That's not necessarily true. You could have another foul here if you judge this contact to be unnecessary or something of that nature. As we take a couple more looks at this play here, a couple of things that we need to focus on during these plays of an extra point or try is number one, did the defense contact or tip the ball? That's the first thing we have to rule on because it changes some things. So we need to know, did they make contact with the ball? If we rule that they did make contact with the ball, then we have to look at this contact on the kicker by the defensive player. And could we rule this to be unnecessary or excessive, which is covered under Rule 9, Section 4, illegal personal contact. And that's another decision we have to make. Now, let's say we rule the defense did not touch or contact this kick. So they did not make any contact, and then this defensive player leaps into the air, jumps, and makes contact with the kicker. Now we have to look at this as, is this running into or is this roofing the kicker? And we have to rule on that. And I think if there's no contact to the ball here and the way this player leaps into the air and then goes into the kicker's space, I think you can make a valid argument here for roughing the kicker if that's the situation in this play. Our next play we're going to look at involves a receiver who's coming across here around the 46-yard line, number 10 in white, who steps out of bounds right here around the 49-yard line. So he's an offensive player who steps out of bounds on this play. And then after he steps out of bounds, we're going to see him return inbounds. And then he's going to catch the ball right there around the 44 and pick up another 15, 16 yards on this play. So the question is this legal? Well, let's take a look at the rule. Rule 9, Section 6, Article 2 states no player shall intentionally go out of bounds during a down in A. Return to the field, B. Intentionally touch the ball, C. Influence the play, or D. Otherwise participate. So in this play, we basically have the player, the receiver, number 10, violating Rule 9, Section 6, Article 2, because he went out of bounds and came back in and participated. This is a 15-yard illegal participation penalty. So now that we've discussed the rule, let's talk about the mechanics on this play. And we have a 5-person officiating crew, which makes this play to get right very difficult because we notice the quarterback roll towards the line judge side of the field. That takes the line judge and begins to focus on the quarterback coming his way with the ball. Takes his eyes off downfield potentially, and that's understandably so. So this is a play that is very difficult, like I said, for a 5-person crew to get correct. And if we do get it correct, it may just be that we were looking in the right place at the right time by chance. But here again, it makes it very difficult to see this on this type of play because of our 5-person mechanics. But be aware of the rule and do your best to officiate this, even though it is a challenge for this number of officials on the field to see this because of the circumstances on this play. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us this week for our Week 4 educational video series for football officials as we look at plays to improve our skills and knowledge of the game. Until next time, have a great week.